All the great challenge that humanity faces today to advance towards the achievement and a sustainable future are linked to the use of resources and technology to help socioeconomic development that allows the country or religion be able to satisfy its needs. The use of resource that energy brings with the endless improvements to the quality life of practically the entire world population. But the use of clean, renewable energy is not always something that the world government make use of. Of course, there is example of oil, that black gold that is increasingly used more and more in the endless process of technological, industrial, as well as goods and service. Petroleum is a natural liquor, a mixture of hydrocarbons found in nature, on the seabed or continental. It's a non-renewable resource. It is extracted according to the characteristics of its deposits. Melty wells are drilled in a subsand deep to be later transported to refineries or for export. The world community will depend heavily on oil and gas supplies for the foreseeable future. World primary energy consumption in 1994 was almost 8 billion tons of oil equivalent. Oil accounted for a 63% in the world energy supply, with the coal the 27%, nuclear power the 7%, and hydroelectric power only the 3%. Poverty is one of the essential factors to explain an important part of environmental degradation, especially with regard to excessive pressure on natural resources and ecosystems of a great ecological value. But even if workers are trained, it is about complying with current regulation, improving and reducing the impact on the environment. It is always contaminated in some way or another. Oil extraction is a cause of environmental degradation. It can translate into increased traffic of vehicles that pollute the atmosphere. It can also bring unemployment and exhaustion of job resources for some specific sector, such as agriculture or livestock. This in place where oil companies are established. Among the other effects are the interference with all the wildlife in general, because it's affected, also causing negative effects in water and soil. The spills are a very big problem, perjuring the environment in a big scale and changing the landscape due to the complexity of drilling projects. Oil activities help with benefit programs for communities, as they are obliged to help fulfill sustainable development, investing to improve the quality of life of the communities where it is established. This had already been discussed in a past exhibition. In other words, they become in a social responsible company, and thus obtaining benefits for themselves and for the communities where they work. We can take the aforementioned by exemplifying the deterioration and loss of ecosystems in an American Latin country, Ecuador, a country of agricultural and ecosystem wealth, here where the economic condition and quality of life are not the best. Ecuador has a rich Amazon tropical forest in terms of flora and fauna with a great agricultural and medicinal value, apart from having regions little intervened by man. What causes a currency commercialization, being these the natural resources, highlighting the use and export of oil, as well as deforestation. On the one hand, economic difficulties in a worldwide, and in another hand, the mismanagement of resource, which resource spending easily elevates a great extent the country's economic situation. The tropical forest has been gradually cleared by the development that immigrants from other provinces have caused, when trying to establish themselves in the region, having negative impacts in the use of the land and the use of resources available in this region of tropical forest. With this process of colonization and deforestation, it has not been possible to establish improvements in the quality of life or in the allocation of economic resources for the settlers, because the techniques used in both livestock and agriculture are not always adequate, making the yield not optimal, and with them, having a very high percentage of poverty in the eastern region of the country. The benefits of the complication of new lands in the region Amazonian have not been positive at all. Now, in 2020, with the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, oil was involved in an attempted crisis due to the low demand for oil and its overproduction, in addition to problems between Russia and Saudi Arabia, and the temporary stoppage of dependent companies of oil, which can lead to a crisis and change the use of energy in the processes in which it is not essential, and which is currently not profitable, at least not its production and exploration define all fields, at least until the market process oil demanding activities be stabilized. The socioeconomic development of a country is essential for government, which as implied to the treat to a large number of ecosystems and its attribute due the excessive use of resources. The use of oil takes place in practically all the corners in the world, but does exist reason to continue using oil, at least not the way in the currently done. There are a large list of clean energy that can be used, like solar, wind, water, and hydrogen as fuel, and thus not harm the planet anymore ourselves and ecosystems in general.